Okay. So first and foremost, because this has been weighing on me since Steph asked if she could invite people to this thing. Did like so first and foremost, queer people. Did you find anything like I guess wrong or you did not like as much with the queer aspect of this story?
How many minutes do you have? It's not that I have
Um.
anything wrong. It's just that it's a very interesting question that you have this question and Andy has the same question for her story.
Mhm,
I'll start first. I'll go first with the way how you handle the queer aspect, which in this case is transness.
mhm.
Being your character is transgender, a trans female, trans woman,
Yes.
trans female,
Yeah.
trans female, trans woman.
Mhm.
Sorry. One thing I did like is that you were able to place transness into a metaphorical and magical dimension, which is something that most trans writers actually do. That's why when you think of well, for queer people, trans people are like mermaids, magical creatures, fairies, because we
Mhm.
see that more. That's one thing
Mhm.
that I like from it. Um, I wouldn't say that there's nothing that it wasn't handled badly, but
Mhm.
I also wanted to ask whether or not that was really your intention, that Prudence is, a trans woman. Was it because of like you wanted to go, oh, what if the sun was always there, but the sun is a trans woman? Was that the intention, or was the intention like just, you want to show a story where there's this character who feels lost and found belongingness with her father who does not know that she is his son. It's mostly
Well,
on your intention more
mhm.
than how you wrote it. Because so I don't have any other thought of it.
Mhm. It's like it's the second part. Like then that was always the intention from the beginning. Just like I mean yeah basically like one of my things because I had like I like doing many things in the story. Like I like magical realisms and or fantasy because this one is basically fantasy at this point. Um, but also like this will be related to my like next question like I guess like to just come out like with it right now like I like writing for like young adults kids and like around that time and I kind of intended this play story like scene to be like well as my sister put it like when she critiqued it like the finale of a Disney like series in a way and I kind of wanted to it to like it's like um I don't know, like one of the things I want to do is to be able to put LGBTQ stories within children's stories as well because I feel like people shy away from that sometimes. So if there's other like an agenda for that, it's possibly like that as well. But also like I don't know, it wasn't like if your question is was it for plot twist purposes? Not really. Like I just thought
We're
that's
just
a
checking.
nice way to fit it in. But yeah, you know. But if it felt like it, go ahead, you can tell me. So yeah.
I mean, it also would have been fine if it's already said there rather than implied later on that
Mm-hmm.
your character is, trans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one part of it because if you wanted, because it would have been nice that if I keep forgetting the name of the old man, who, by the way, I keep picturing as Martin Short,
Mm-hmm. Mr.
Mr.
Wildfire, by the way. But yeah.
Yeah, Mr. White Sparrow. Would have been nice, if he already accepted Prudence as who she was
Mm-hmm.
way before in the story. So at least the impact in the last part where it's revealed that she is his child is
Mm-hmm.
a lot more heartwarming, I guess. Well, that's for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Like noted for that. So it's not necessary. Like it's like because I like there is a surprise factor. I don't necessarily want to lean towards that like completely. But yeah, like then if I do that, it's it's like it would exchange one tension for another, which would be like he kind of knows the pieces are there, but he has not put them together yet. Versus he does not have all the pieces. Like therefore, yes, like like yeah. So yeah, I will consider that. Like so for you, you feel like it would be better to for him to know that aspect of her already. She is trans, or at least like the audience know that aspect of her. She is trans. Yeah.
Not the audience, the character itself. Because at the end, I feel like this story for a queer person would feel like, oh wow, you would accept me as who I am, even if I am your child. Because I have met people, parents who have accepted their friend is someone who is bisexual, non-binary, but they themselves do not accept their child. It has happened many countless times, both reality and in fiction.
Mhm.
So it has that different kind of layer and nuance to other queer stories that most, I think, I'm assuming straight cis. Are you straight and cis? I don't want to assume.
I
I
am.
rather assume gay than assume straight.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. But that's one way, because in the last part it felt very heartwarming. Like, oh God, the son he has been waiting for to visit is finally here.
Mhm.
And of course, it looks like that Prudence, even from the beginning, already felt like doesn't belong anywhere. Has that the mother said to her that she being who she is does not fit that her last name. So that's a good hint that might be Wild Sparrow's, child, son.
Mhm.
So revealing in the first part that Wild Sparrow already knows that Prudence is trans doesn't really reveal much that, that she might be the son that he's looking for. At least it shows comfort that this person accepts Prudence as who she is, even before uh, he finds out that she is his son.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. No. Noted. At the end of the day, what I wanted to try to do with that, right, and like I guess I'll ask, like maybe like if that comes across, is that like the biggest fear Prudence has is that she isn't what Wild Sparrow hoped, she would be. Like, and that isn't specifically about like gender. It's also about everything else about her.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly the point. The gender is an aspect, so at least let him know in advance already that
Mhm.
she is trans.
Okay. Okay. Like noted. Thank you, Louis. Actually, do like I do not know if other people here are queer. Like, but if there are
Yeah,
any other queer members of the audience, do you have any thoughts on this as
yeah,
well?
because I'm just one per person's opinion, because
Mhm.
I have a different
Thank you so much.
feeling with their stories.
Mhm.
I can go. Hi, Clarice. So I'm queer, but I'm not trans. So I am not very
Mhm.
confident diagnosing this. But I would be interested to know if you like asked other trans people. But regardless of that, I think I really enjoyed it. I think the reveal wasn't cheaply done. I think it was very emotional. It felt really moving. Like you said something about you writing for like young adults, and like it did feel like it could exist in like a Disney show, like Gravity Falls show, for example, where you have this magical realism stuff, and maybe the rules of how coming out would be in the real world aren't so important to address in this universe that you created. Like if it was written in a different style, I think some of the questions you could ask are like, what are the stance of magicals about queer people in this setting? Like, do they still have the same stigma? But in the way that you've written it, I don't think I don't think it's something that you had. It wasn't that story, to,
Mhm.
to try to simulate. So,
Agreed.
in short, I I think it was well done. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, thank you. So I will take your guys' notes like Louis and Danny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that it probably is the like probably the best way to go, like to state like that Mr. Wildfire knows at least. It would be interesting if the audience doesn't, so they have to piece it together. But yes, thank you. Okay. So
Yeah, but
next
any
question. Oh
suggestion,
yeah, sorry.
you know, any suggestion to talk to other trans people will help because yeah, I'm non-binary. I don't conform to any gender at all. I'm different. That's why for me it felt like it didn't mean much if it's already revealed that they're trans. But you know, again, different perspective, different view. The way a man can't talk about a woman's perspective.
Mhm. Okay. So final piece of feedback from you from this part, and unless you have more, like also check this. Let the story get checked by more trans people. Yes,
More, just get a
or by
sense.
trans people, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Louie and Andy. Um. Next question, just like really quick, like go around. Well, who do you think the intended audience was? I said who I wanted it to be, but like, how about you guys?
Young kids,
Mm-hmm.
youngsters, people
Okay.
under 18 and those who have a child at heart. Because while reading it, in my head, I don't know why, could have been a musical with Martin Short. I will keep saying
Okay,
Martin Short.
that's so interesting.
Flamboyant.
Okay, okay. I usually write musicals. That is so interesting. So thank you for saying that. Like that's so weird. That it crossed over. But anyway, yes. Okay. So how about you guys? Like, and you guys agree or disagree with that? Yes.
I think it's like a family um, type of uh, play. So
Mhm.
yeah, something that you could watch with your whole family. I mean, assuming that you all get along. um, yeah, so that's part of it. Like kids, preteens, teenagers, and their parents. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Um, so like okay, so that's it. Like I kind of want to do like I'm going to try this like method for a second. Like I kind of want to do like a round table, like really quickly. What are your guys' impressions about the story? Like what stood out to each of you the most? Like like one by one. So yes, so can we start with Raphael? How about you? Like yes, how about you?
Okay, great. So what stood out? So first impression, I thought it was mm, what it reminded me of was the characters from Avatar, uh, Legend of Korra. There's this
Mm,
like there's this like similar relationship. There's two characters with similar relationship. It's the billionaire billionaire inventor guy, and he's kind of like an adventurer. And
mm-hmm,
he has a secretary assistant named
mm-hmm,
Julie, and the name of the is Varys. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, so I thought it was a romance at first, and then
Oh my god.
like
Yeah, yeah.
actually like deep dark secret did the so anyways so uh that's what I had in my mind. So it was a real like surprise and real shocker when
Mhm,
it's his like son slash kid. I didn't think it was uh I didn't think it was LGBT or trans. That didn't occur to me. I thought, oh, this is such a magical world. I just thought like, oh, it wasn't a son, it was a uh I just took it literally. Um
mhm,
like I thought maybe she didn't maybe he was misinformed or something like that, or like some magic happened or something.
mhm.
Whatever. I didn't really think about it that much.
Mhm.
What I don't know if I would say didn't like. I don't want to say like I don't want to say. I mean, I didn't like it because it's something I didn't really agree with. So this is my own like opinions, you could say. I didn't really like um, sort of how uh, if this was the son then or the kid, I didn't like how sort of like they felt like he always had to prove himself, and I kind of wish that that aspect was addressed or somehow like
Mhm.
tackled maybe or acknowledged. Um,
Mhm.
unless it's just implied with the whole like nothing more had I know that I'm mixing up already other stories, but yeah, as far as I can remember, maybe the hints, maybe it's there, and I didn't pick up on the hints, but yeah, those are my.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Rafael. So what I'm getting, like, and that's 100% valid because that is also what my sister told me. Like she starts reading it, like, okay, they're gonna get together. They're gonna get together, aren't they? Like, and like, I'm not sure how to make it not
How?
like that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get any romance vibes, or it's because I do not like old men with young women.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I was hoping the age gap thing would sway people against it, but also like
oh,
the yeah.
the people who see it as a romance and seeing the age gap can give you an insight to the cultural context that we're living in and not really your story.
Hmm.
You don't
Oh,
have to exclude it because depending on who's reading it, there's not really much of it. I mean,
mm-hmm.
we're living, you can also look at the cultural context right now. I mean, yeah, whenever I see an old man with a young woman, I'll just go, oh, that's her grandfather. Oh, it's a mentor. It's like picturing Natalie Portman with, what's that guy's name? I forgot. In this movie, Imaginarium something, it's a toy shop, thinking
Mm-hmm.
that there's a romance. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I don't feel that it's a romance, and I feel worried that people say that it is. Oh God.
What like what I'm trying
That's how
to
it is.
Mhm.
People will find romance in anything.
There's so many girls right now that fall for older men and groom them,
That is true.
Yeah.
and it's very concerning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, where do we live, Kenneth? Oh, where do we live? Oh, excuse me while I have an existential crisis again.
Okay. Yeah, like I get that. Like and like yeah, like I was like I guess like something possibly like maybe like before we continue the roundtable thing, like a question is like do they act like a father and daughter like duo because that's what I was intending. Like as in a really responsible daughter and like a dad that's just like a little bit careless about sugar and adventures and stuff like that. Or is it like because I guess another way of looking at it that maybe like what people read into the romance vibes is that they are like it's an opposite attract kind of thing. That might be the thing that people get the vibes from. So yeah, so what do you guys think about that dynamic between those two characters?
Okay, I'll take this one, and it might go with the round table as well. Um,
Mhm.
I also thought it was romantic at first, and that was because um, Prudence is very like she doesn't like being touched or she doesn't like physical contact, and I don't know if it's because of all the like tropes or stereotypes I've seen on TV and books where you have that very meek like Virgin Mary type of a character. So that's how I thought of Prudence, that you know just very like I know there's like a religious sounding adjective that goes into that, but it just escapes me. Modest, something like that. Like she's just modest, very modest,
Mhm.
and I guess that's sort of tied into like, oh, she doesn't want to show her affection or her love toward someone, and I usually just I don't know, that kind of dynamic is done a lot for romantic couples, and that's why I thought it was a romantic thing, like sexual tension, whatever. And then I guess the other thing also why it didn't why I thought it was like a, or maybe a way for it to not seem um like a romantic type, or maybe for to give Prudence, maybe, I don't know, some more, I don't know if it's like power or like whatever, I don't know what the word is, but does she have to be a secretary as opposed to a manager? Because
Mhm.
I think we can agree that there are stereotypes that come with secretaries. I hope I'm not being malicious right now, but
Okay.
I'm sorry. But
Okay, then, yeah.
I just
Makes
feel
too much
like
sense.
if she were a manager, it would also make more sense how she is on top of the hostel. I don't
Mhm.
think a secretary would be on top of the hostel. I don't think a secretary would have the keys and all that stuff and managing
Mhm.
all the financial stuff. So it made
Mhm.
more sense for Prudence to be a manager. And gosh, this sounds so awful. Like, oh, just because she's a manager, she doesn't seem like, I don't know. It doesn't seem romantic anymore. Like,
Okay.
it sounds so wrong. But I'm sorry. I
Okay. Okay.
society, I'm just gonna blame society for that. I'm so sorry to all the secretaries in the world,
Mhm.
but yes. But I guess on top, beyond the label, I think that's a minor thing for me. It's really like, why is she so averse to the physical touch?
Mhm.
I like, it's not explored in the play,
Mhm.
and
What if she's neurodivergent and just doesn't really like touching people?
yeah, I know that's
It's a
fair.
normal thing. I don't like people touching me. It's
Yeah,
the
same.
thing for me to touch you.
Same, but I guess what I found quite what's striking was that there was that scene where he fainted
Mhm.
and she hesitated to pick him up. And
Mhm.
I feel like if that's your parent and you love your parent, you would get over that.
Mhm.
So I just maybe, like, yeah, I just wish maybe there were times that uh, I don't know.
Or
But yeah,
maybe
I
we
feel like there's that the
can
physical touch gets in the way for me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe consider the
Yeah.
touching part. For me, if my father's bleeding, I'm scared of blood. I will faint with him.
Okay.
To my father, I will. The first thing I will do is feel dizzy, faint at the sight of blood. I don't care if he is my father, that he has given me money. No, that goes off the table if I see him bleeding. Nope.
Okay.
And put that in that she doesn't like touching. You can try putting that in somewhere to maybe ease whatever romantic tension people are seeing that I feel very concerned about. Sorry, I'm talking really fast.
Okay. Noted.
Maybe
That might be helpful. Yeah. Like just putting it in. Yeah.
I have innocent thoughts. I'm not an innocent person.
Mhm.
I don't
Um.
see it.
Okay. Okay. Like
Very
I think. Okay.
friendly.
What? Okay. Okay. Like I think, okay, if you guys are wondering where that came from, I was like, there isn't a lot of ways to say, like, to show, like, like that there is tension there, like, within like a play format for me at least. So I went with touch. Okay, so it's difficult for her to touch him. And like here's like the difficult-ish part for me here. There is tension within their relationship, but the thing is, like, from what I've observed, just from like a writing standpoint, when there is tension in any kind of relationship, it's usually perceived as romantic. Like it's difficult to define it as something else, because if you're friends, then usually it's characterized by ease. If you're a parent, then like an easygoing relationship is either characterized by ease or hate or like trauma, one of those things. So to have like a loving relationship that has tension in it, like like reads as romantic, I think. And I think that is a little bit about what's difficult for me, like within this. But yeah, like, but I get what you mean, definitely. That the touch thing can definitely be perceived as romantic. And I like what Louis said. Maybe it would help to just say, maybe just to give her the trait of I don't like touching people. But like my idea for that was just to give more emphasis to the hug at the end, like to just make it even more like sweet. So yes, if you guys like, do you guys have any ideas or comments about that?
I'll go next. For me, first impression, right? The round table. Yes. Yeah, I did not see it as romance. I just see them as like BFF, like best friends, and she can let loose when around him. I mean, let loose in her standard. She didn't talk or act like him at all, but like in a way that the fact that she followed him everywhere is in a way let loose. Yes, that's yeah. And also kind of like first impression, right? I want to throw Cholo out of the window.
Okay. Yes, I wanted that.
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay,
wish she didn't help him. Kind of.
okay. Like, so what I'm getting here is that like kind of what you guys already said. We could just blame it on society. Just let the relationship be what it is, with all the tension that it has, and it's still being a parent-child relationship, mentor-mentee relationship, and then people will just come to their own conclusions at the end. Because, like, I mean, I guess really quick question for everyone. Like, by the end, it's no longer romantic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
And
Okay.
if people still romance it, it's their problem.
Okay, thank you. So Steph, like, was that all of like? So I'll just continue with the roundtable thing. Oh, really quickly though, Steph. Like, how much time do I have left?
17 minutes in total, but in 7 minutes, I will tell you you have 10 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. Since you were already like giving comments, is there any more about your impressions about the story that you wanted to put in? No, not really. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I have
Uh-huh.
quite a bit to unpack. Okay,
Mhm.
first of all, about your first question, uh, I am not clear, but for me, reading the play, right, I think there is a certain possibility that towards the end, because that's when the plot twist happens, right? The coming out part might be easily misconstrued as something, a characteristic that adds to the surprise factor. And I feel like I really like Louis' suggestion just now. She mentioned that you can, because Prudence, her personality is very tied up with her struggle to be accepted and her being cautious. I imagine will be associated with her um, identity of being trans because she's seeking acceptance from her father. So instead of the revelation being like a sudden feature added on to her character, it would be great if you tried what Louis suggested and made it a journey. Like the whole play would be um addressing this issue of hers, then it wouldn't be as sudden as it seemed. It was sudden for me. And so also another question I had for you was, because this is a play, right? So how would she look on stage? If she looks like a conventional, very ladylike girl, that might be a little problematic. I think you can think about how she visually presents on the stage, because that would really affect the meaning behind your play. I really like that you're being inclusive, and that's another factor that you have to consider rather than what's on the page itself. Because if she looks like a girl and then at the end, I'm not saying that trans people cannot look conventionally feminine, but that's a potentially difficult thing that you have to consider, in the execution of the play. And I did not think that it was a romance, but I do agree with Steph that uh, there are certain connotations that related to secretaries, especially when she's Prudence. And it would be great to sort of even be slightly subversive by letting her be a manager, for example. She is very competent, but she seems, because she's cautious, it is important to consider what, other factors like appearance, her role, or the way she talks what kind of connotations would those inspire in the audience. That also relates to what I said earlier, basically. What I really liked about the play was the characterization. I think you did a good job. It was really engaging and fun to read. I really liked Wild Sparrow. The way he talks is just so nice. Yeah, I think other than that, you did a wonderful job, and it fits the your intended audience, and it's definitely entertaining. Just that I think it's a great opportunity for you to explore how trans identities would unfold in this kind of setting, rather than it being a revelation at the end. Yeah, that's all.
That's a very good point. Like, I think I really will take Louis' suggestion that will be like mentioned, or like put in like at the beginning of the play. I really like your comment about appearance. Like that said, like I can't really control that, I guess, within the script. Not much, like, at least. But I like, if we have time, I would like to get back to that, because I think that's a very interesting comment. But yes, thank you, Yue. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay, and Andy, like, roundtable comments, yes.
Sorry, Clarice. Could you repeat the question? I'm not sure which question I'm answering now.
Okay, like this one's just like the roundtable question. So, what were your like biggest impressions about the play overall? Like the things you liked about it and things you didn't
Gotcha. All right. So I have a bit of notes. I really see your intention about having this be stage for like children and young adults. I felt like it was a really sweet story about family and acceptance. Like on a surface level, it's very accessible. The themes are, it's something that you would see in like, let's say like a show like Shira or like Gravity Falls, for example. But it still doesn't take away from um, kind of touching on those like bigger topics. Like for me, I thought a big theme was Mr. Will the Sparrow. Am I saying correctly? Will the Sparrow?
like.
Correct.
Well, Sarah, but honestly, you can pronounce it whatever you want.
Like him, like living past his glory days. I think that was one of the themes that I picked up on, and also, obviously, um, the journey of finding acceptance in your family and growing into your own as a trans girl. So I like your approach. It makes for a very fun story that you could keep coming back to, so you could keep reading into those big topics. And just to quickly answer, like, I'm also part of the club that had a bit of a like romancy vibes. It's just, I think, the typical way that we are primed by most media, unfortunately. And I wonder if it could be fixed by, or well, just to give like really quickly like my experience. I think it was a nice like smoke screen for when we got to the reveal, because when I was reading it and then I was like waiting for the confession, whatever, and then it turns out not to be the case, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really enjoyed it. So I think it worked for your favor, but that's for me. If this is something that you would want to like remove in the future, maybe you could look into how to make, I'm sorry, what's the name of of our amazing young Prudence? Yes. If you could make how she's a child more apparent, I don't know, in the way that she's very obviously secretarial, very on top of things. But if you could insert maybe like more signs of them being a child, or this is her father that she followed, across the worlds. I don't know if you want to add like a little bit of like hero worship, typical of like mentor-mentee relationships, underneath all of her, trying to maintain her relationship with, like maintain her business relationship with her, not her father. I think that would plant like interesting seeds of doubt, and where the reader could be like, is it really romantic? There's something more to it? And I think, will also make it feel realistically like Prudence was a child doing like a big person, like a grown-up person's role. But that's just me. And yeah, I like the dialogue. Also, like everybody mentioned, I love the dialogue. I love the banter. And I think you were very successful in making it seem like a big world, even though they're not, moving a lot.
Yeah.
Also, like you had like a lot of consistent references to their past adventures that really worked, and these consistent interruptions while they're like talking. You have like the people in the hostel like effing things up. I really like that. I think that's my only, not really criticism, but I would have liked to see more of those interruptions. Just I think it would be interesting to see, while they're having their heart-to-heart talk. I would not be opposed to seeing like, like the bell ringing, or someone, setting something on fire while they're having while they're trying to have that heart-to-heart talk, just so you could really maintain that that realism of this being an adventure hostel. And I think you could play with like layering between like really funny things happening with them having this really emotional conversation. So yeah, it had a really fun time. It was a really fun thing to read. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And like thanks so much for that. That's like I think you guys can tell, like I had this critique by my sister before, and she had extensive critiques, and that was one. She said it didn't feel as much of a world the first time that I wrote it. So I'm glad that it does feel like a world this time. Like, okay, so like to jump off that, so you answered, Andy, like that's how the setting felt. It did feel like there are consistent references to adventures. It did feel like an adventure hostel. Like just to ask everyone else, like was that the same for you guys? Like what was your, I guess, like vibes about the setting and the environment? Was that place alive for you? Because considering that the title is the setting, it needs to be alive, in my opinion. So yes.
I think for me, it could have come alive more as well. So same comment as Andy. And I feel like maybe to help also with the interruptions, maybe your characters could be doing something together. Because right now it seemed like, it's like closing time ish. And then they were, Prudence was about to say bye, right? So like the whole time it's like they're just standing up and talking. And then I guess that's why I also felt like there was this romantic tension. You know how like when you watch Pride and Prejudice, like they're just far away and talking to each other and all just tension in between. And I feel like if they were doing something, like what if they're doing accounting or they're cleaning or doing repairs, I think there would be more like interruptions of like, oh, can you pass me the thing? Or can you recalculate this? So I feel like in those ways, the place comes alive, and it's the conversations are more natural, and the sexual tension is erased.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like they have to be on like the same level, or at least for me, your characters being on the same level would. I guess this is the thing with Prudence. Like, the way we were introduced to Prudence is like she's she has influence over him, right, and power over him because she pretty much manages like his health and all that stuff. And I think we could have seen that through and through when they are working together, as opposed to her wanting to leave the hostel to say goodnight, and then they have this conversation, and then now she's afraid. So there's that, how like in like teen drama or whatever, there's this thing called like the pull, or like there's this like push and pull of like playing hard to get, and that's how the other person tries to like lean in a little bit more. So I think if they're doing something together, you get rid of that, because the saying goodnight part and then they have this heart to heart, that's yeah, a lot of influence there probably.
Okay. Wait. Siwi made a comment, but I cannot really read it on my phone. I'll try to read it like later. Wait. Actually, Siwi, can you say it, because I can't find the chat function on my phone right now.
Yeah.
So yes.
I was building on Andy and Stephanie's comments. So if there are more constant interruptions, right? It could be why it took her so long to tell her father. Maybe she tries many times, like throughout the play, but she gets interrupted every time, and so eventually she lost her courage. So this, besides from like illustrating how her effort and like her struggle, it also helps with like the comedic effect in the play. That's basically what I said. Yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely consider that. Also, like with you guys, because did you also like the side characters? Like, I appreciated Ega's comment about wanting to throw Cholo out of the window. Like, was that the same with Cholo, and like reactions to the other quick side characters?
It would be nice to have your side characters be the ones helping build the more adventurous side of the hostel and the magical part of the hostel. Like they're being interrupted by it. Like they're in an adventure hostel with adventurers who could be bringing trouble by the moment they enter a door or coming down the stairs. Also, I'll send you a bunch of dynamics maybe you can also look at through, so you can remove the romantic tension that other people are seeing. I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay, noted.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
also sending a few like from Knives Out, Doc and Marty McFly, Back to the Future. I'm sorry, I'm more caught up there. It's making me sad. Looking at those dynamics, Selena Gomez with Martin Shorts and Steve Martin in Only Murders in the Building. Very big age gap, woman, and this almost the same dynamic. Very bantery. You can also look at that to see how to remove any romantic. Take inspiration from it. Patience. I can keep naming more. Man, there's only a few, is there? Okay, those are the only ones I can name at the top of my head.
Okay, thanks, Louie.
Perhaps rely on other cues, because a lot of people do have different cues. Like for me, I didn't see any romantic element at all. I'm sorry if I'm stuck there, but I'm really stuck there. Yeah, because I realized, okay, there's different cues, and for me, there was to me.
And I appreciate both sides, that you say that you don't see it, and then when Steph says like the things that need to be said, like the secretary and the connotations of that. I think like maybe like I think final question, because I don't think I have a lot of time left. So my sister also said like another thing. This could be another format if if I wanted it to be like, as in she's like, another thing you could do, though not necessarily like you have to, is you could start chronologically at the beginning, like with it being, for example, a series of short plays or something. Would like we start Prudence entering the hostel, for example, and then like you start the adventure from there. So I guess like the question is like, do you think that be a better format? Would you rather see the story unfold in that way?
That would be very cool for me because there will be like many like small interaction with the other adventurers. Like we can see more of solo BS.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like we learn more about how Prudence like get used with the hostel. Maybe like the death make her more let loose in a way. I know.
Mhm.
Yeah. that-
Okay, so
Yeah.
for Ega, like
Make-
that's a yes, yeah. Like you would rather see it that way. How about you guys?
Um, for me, I would definitely think it's a plus and can lean into it more. You said it's a children's, like young, like teenager slash children's family play, and I felt like if this was gonna be staged, maybe it's a bit too dialogue heavy for that sort of target. It's really fun to read, but if it's gonna be staged, I think uh, they would they would be much more entertained by like whatever random things that could action scenes, and that's what I think what Steph was saying earlier. Like um, she I think she wants to see more action and things going on, and that would actually decrease like the awkwardness, that tension that shouldn't really be there because if there's things going on, right? I actually thought the same thing too, and it was kind of awkward in a tension kind of way. Like, why are you guys here? Why are you guys talking like this and like opening up? These are my thoughts. Like, are you guys opening up for the first time? This is not something you usually sort of do, and so it felt like this is really different and like out of the ordinary, and something special could happen. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
think leading into the action more, leading into the fantastical stuff and all these wacky characters and adventurers and like this crazy place, I think that's gonna um do the most like benefit for your play.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I want to add one more thing. Like if you make it like a mini series, I want to know more about the demon. Like why there's a demon in the I don't know his name. Crow,
Mhm.
something like that. Yeah, the main
Okay.
character of Man Dude, that body, how is it in there? Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
really curious about that. That's a demon, right? I don't know.
They would like to see it in a different format. How about you guys, Andy, Steph, and Siwei and Louis? Yes.
You can make
Sorry.
it to a full 3-act play.
Louis.
Uh,
So, mhm.
go on, Louis.
So wait,
Sorry.
Louis said like you could make it into a 3-act play, right?
Yeah,
Is
because
that what we said?
yeah, because at least right now it looks like it's more like a one. I would like to assume it's a 1-act play.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really give much of a started and somewhat middle. You can make it into a full play if
Mm-hmm.
you can. I did give you a reference of what your play reminded me of. It's a very I don't want to say old. It's 2014, an old YouTube show that I used to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Same, very fantastical. It really reminded me of that, so it could still be like that. You can even make it into a series if you want to as well, because it's
Mm-hmm.
really good for it to be more visual, especially with all the magical elements that you have, more than
Mm-hmm.
it's because it's very dialogue heavy and very much on the magical world that it is in. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a shame if it's just written. It's the written word. It's better if it's like more visual.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and like I think I have run out of time, but like, how about you guys? Like really quickly, like yes or no? I guess if like for yes, Andy, Siwei, Steph.
Yes to what Raphael and Ega said. Exactly that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Siwei, and yes for Andy, and yes. Okay, that's very interesting. So yeah, so that is like that's a really interesting comment. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for all the comments and stuff.
Yay!
Okay.
and I'm glad you liked it.
Clap, clap.
Thanks, Clarice.